opening silver chests. Welcome to TechRaptor's Quick Thoughts, a video series where we talk about a specific game. Usually it's quick, sometimes it runs a little long. I'm looking at you, Kingdom Hearts. This episode, we are talking about Elder Scrolls Blades, the new mobile game from Bethesda. I'm joined by Austin Souther, one of our staff writers.
What's up?
Let's just jump right into it. So, first thoughts on Blades.
I'm having a pretty good time so far. I'm not even a mobile gamer, but I am a big Elder Scrolls fan, so obviously I'm pretty excited to play. I'll just jump right into the combat, or actually no, customize your character. I really liked it. There were more options than I expected. You could pick all the races, and there weren't just like a couple heads you could choose. No, you could pick hairstyle, hair color, nose shape, head shape, stuff like that. I thought that was really cool.
I was surprised that there was like so much, like every single race was there, and then obviously the standard Elder Scrolls, each race has its own custom perks and everything. It felt right to me, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't know if they were going to go with like, dark elves do higher damage with magic, or Khajiit, I guess they do more with daggers or something like that. I didn't know if they were going to do that, but I was pleasantly surprised. It makes it more than just a cosmetic choice. And it's also cool just to see like all the items you equip reflected on your character in the inventory screen. They could have easily not done that, and it all looks good.
Yeah, the UI is extremely robust. Like you said, the character equip screen is awesome. Being able to preview what you're putting on your character, seeing your character in full is pretty sweet. The thing that I guess took me by surprise in a big way was the skills, because the skill tree is insane. I did not expect there to be so many perks and abilities and spells.
Not only that, I mean, you can upgrade existing spells, so it's not just like, it's definitely a tree. It feels more like a tree than just like some meaningless upgrade. And you can experiment. There's definitely experimentation. There's a lot of versatility, I guess, is what I want to say.
Yeah, it lets you build your character the way you want, and there's that Elder Scrolls kind of, you play the character you want, you build out, the skills and spells that you want to play with. And there's a lot on the subreddit too, people just talking about the builds they're putting together and stuff like that. So a lot of people are getting pretty deep into, actually building out character classes and things like that, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, I think that as time goes on, it'll only get better. And I just really like that you could do melee and magic instead of just like pure melee or pure magic. It makes you a lot more effective, and there are plenty of skills in each. So, like, there's just so much freedom.
I really am happy with how it's turned out in terms of, the equipment and the robustness of the skills and everything. The combat feels great for a mobile game. It's obviously not a full hack and slash like we're used to with Elder Scrolls, but it takes the mobile platform, and I think it does a solid job of distilling the Elder Scrolls experience in terms of abilities and in the combat and enemies that you're used to. So mercenaries, bandits, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, you could very easily go through the game like holding down your finger and slicing, but that's not going to get you anywhere. I mean, I think a lot of people might do that at first, but then when you realize that that's not really going to cut it later on, you have to use your shield. You have to know when to time your attacks right. I think that was really cool.
Yeah, there's more depth to it than just like tap, attack, tap, attack, tap, attack. No, you've actually got to take the time to learn a little bit of comboing, when to time certain abilities like the dodge attack and stuff like that. And you've got to realize that, this enemy's about to attack. I shouldn't cast a spell right now, because if you're casting a spell and you get attacked, you're interrupted.
And there's combos too, kind of, right?
Yeah. I haven't fully figured out the combos. Obviously, I'm level 12. I think you said, you're level 11 right now. And we're on the same quest right now. So there's still some things I haven't like fully gotten down, like combos. For a while there, I thought it was, you block and then you land an attack and that's a combo, but that doesn't seem to be the case every time. So, and I haven't like dug too deep into learning it.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of having fun exploring and doing stuff and opening silver chests.
So many silver chests. I'm like spending all the time doing that.
It's funny. The silver chests, like obviously every 3 hours you can open a silver chest. I should clarify. And I guess the community is so annoyed by it that even Bethesda's like, we're gonna fix it, guys. Sorry. So
I don't mind the wait too much, but that's mostly because I haven't like come across a whole bunch of chests and then I can't pick up ones that I find that are really good. I kind of pick it up when I feel like it and play for a little bit and then, go on my way and then next time I'm on I can open the chest, so it hasn't been that big of a deal for me.
yeah, I think a lot of people don't like the mobile monetization. And I'll agree that in most games it's pretty blatant and frustrating. In Blades, I don't see it as horrible. Now we haven't obviously hit like high level and probably reached the super grindy points, but waiting 3 hours for a chest when I'm only hopping into Blades every once in a while, I'm waiting for a client to call me back at work or something like that, and just kind of putzing around. That's not the biggest deal to me, and I haven't had to spend any money to continue progressing. I've just had to maybe do a couple extra quests to be able to increase my gear.
Yeah. And there are a lot of quests, and they give you the resources you need to build up your town and all that. One thing I am a little afraid of is that, like you said, later on when you're in the more grindy parts of the game, that soon it'll start to get frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I haven't encountered that yet either, but I really hope that for me stays at the same pace that I've been experiencing.
Yeah, I have a feeling it'll get grindy later on because that's just unfortunately how mobile games end up. I hope that Bethesda will find a way to continue distilling the Elder Scrolls experience in an enjoyable way, but we'll see, obviously. I think that the town rebuilding is a pretty neat little mechanic. It's one of those things that you're not handed everything immediately.
Yeah.
I can't immediately rebuild the smithy to sell my stuff and upgrade my stuff. I've got to do a couple quests first. Same thing with enchanting and everything like that.
Yeah, the town part, that makes more sense why it takes time, because you're building stuff, right? So, I mean, in real life, buildings don't just pop up, and, it's not going to happen in this game either. Chests, I mean, it's kind of goofy that you have to, like, wait a couple hours to open a single chest, but you wait near the same time, I guess. I'm not really sure the exact amounts, but you wait around that same time for something in your town to build up too. But I get it,
Mm-hmm.
because building your town isn't like immediate. You're not gonna have the resources to build a whole bunch of buildings at the same time, at least so far it seems.
Yeah, I've only been able to do like one or two buildings at the most, and the only time I've been able to do two was it was just two houses, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe. I can't remember if I actually did two or not now. But it's a neat mechanic in that, you've got to upgrade your town level to get bigger upgraded buildings. So, I can only temper my swords up to a certain amount until I increase my smithy.
Yeah.
Things like that. It adds an extra layer of complexity, an extra layer of gameplay that you won't necessarily get tired of the game. I think it just adds a little bit more depth to it.
And there's a lot of mobile games that do the town mechanic, but I really like this because you get to walk around, you see people living there, and like you can there is some degree of customization. You can place stuff wherever you want, and maybe pay a bit more resources, but to change the style up. But I really like that too, because I
Yeah.
have this vision of how I want to organize it.
Yeah, you build the town the way you want, and then you get to literally walk around in the town. It's not like, I don't know, Clash of Clans or whatever, that you build the town and you're just looking at it from a top down. You're actually building the town and, being able to walk around, talk to the citizens, accept quests from people. And I think that kind of is what makes it feel more like an Elder Scrolls experience in mobile than, if it had just been a pure GUI based experience.
And it looks great. like
Oh yeah,
graphically.
gorgeous. I was definitely surprised at how good it looks.
I mean, it's I wouldn't say it's on the level of Skyrim, but
I'd say Oblivion.
e- even better than Oblivion, maybe. I mean, it looks like a really low setting Skyrim, which might not sound great, but like if you experience it on your phone, then it's pretty awesome.
I'd say it's a low setting Skyrim, maybe a high setting Oblivion for sure. And that's, that's pretty phenomenal to be able to have at your fingertips. And saying that as I've been playing Blades while I play Oblivion lately, it's pretty cool. It's being able to kind of see the old versus the new, and kind of seeing the progression and all that kind of stuff is neat. I've been excited for this coming to mobile for a while. So much so that I've probably been bothering Bethesda's PR person too much over the last couple months. But I'm very sorry about that, Bethesda. But I was excited for your game ever since E3 last year. Since they had the booth at E3, it was very exciting to have that come out. And I know that most gamers aren't excited about mobile games, but for someone who is out and about quite a bit for work, it's nice to, like, during lunch, if I'm not at a computer, I can just kind of sit down and tinker around in Blades for a little bit.
So you were able to actually play it at E3, right?
Yes. I played it. Daniel played it. Nick played it. I think Alex and a couple others played it too.
And like, if you remember, I know it was about a year ago. How different is it? Do you think it's better off, more polished now?
I didn't get to play a whole lot, unfortunately. I had another meeting to go to, but I know the other guys can probably talk to it a little bit more. Unfortunately, my schedule was super packed that day, so.
I'm really excited about the future of this game too, because Bethesda's done a lot of support for Fallout Shelter,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a pretty fun game. I kind of dropped it because I lose interest fast on certain games, and Fallout is a good series, but it's not like my favorite. I like Elder Scrolls a lot more, but I know that they've continued to support it, and I hope that even though we're in early access and it's really early for me to say this, I just hope that they continually pump out cool stuff for it.
Yeah, I think that they seem to be from the start very, very vocal about what they're working on and everything like that. So that's been good to see. And speaking of the graphics too and everything, the environments that you go into, like the dungeons and everything, it's almost like it's ripped straight out of one of the, like, Oblivion or Skyrim almost.
Yeah,
Which is super cool, and the music is phenomenal. It's music that you would expect in an Elder Scrolls game.
I think my favorites are probably Ayleid Ruins.
Yes,
Those were always atmospheric in Oblivion, and I feel like they really captured it in Blades as well.
they did. Yeah, I was actually playing Oblivion the other day while I was playing Blades, and I was in one of the Ayleid Ruins in both games, and I was like, wow, these, they really kind of did a great job of making everything line up in terms of keeping the same feel and the same look. And they definitely put a lot of love into Blades,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm sure that's why it got delayed as long as it did. I think it was originally supposed to come out last fall.
Yeah, I think like maybe November or something.
That was the original date that was on the App Store, and then it got pushed back to March.
Yeah.
Which, if they took that time to develop the game further and make it better for players, I'm always cool with that. I would rather devs be able to take their time and create the product that they want than rush it out just to appease a particular release date.
Yeah, and again, it's early access, so it's not like fully out yet. Have you, speaking of that, like, have you encountered any glitches or problems or anything like that?
I actually haven't.
I was experiencing something weird with spells. When I casted lightning, for me, it seemed like I was shooting a fireball instead in some instances. Like, I don't know if that was just me or maybe me misclicking, but I was pretty sure like I was shooting lightning, and it turns out to be a different spell entirely.
That one I haven't run into. I will say though that the portrait to landscape mode, or landscape to portrait, however you play, is so insanely seamless. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
They did a phenomenal job making the game perfect, no matter what orientation you're playing on. And the fact that you can switch on the fly and it doesn't even stutter is super cool.
You could do it in combat and it wouldn't even hurt you, you know?
Yeah, it's, I mean, there's no delay at all other than the standard iPad like little graphic that it does when it switches orientations.
And I'm pretty much play most of my games in portrait mode. How do you play Blades?
On phone, I play in portrait mode, and on iPad, I play in landscape.
Yeah, that makes sense. It looks great either way. I mean, I don't think there's a wrong way to play it.
And on iPad, I believe you can do it on iPhone as well. But when you're playing in landscape, you have the traditional kind of like two joystick control scheme on left and right.
Yeah, you can
which
do that.
is super seamless, and kind of allows you to look around while you're running, which I thought made the experience pretty neat, and especially running around the town, because you can just kind of look around at everything without having to tap and accidentally tap the wrong direction and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I noticed that you could adjust that in the settings. Actually, the settings is pretty good. Like you can enable these virtual joysticks, you can disable them. You can adjust the location of where your shield button is. Um, if you know what I mean by that. And apparently you can adjust look sensitivity and stuff, which is maybe I don't play enough mobile games, but I mean it's pretty cool that they added all these options just to make the gameplay as good as possible for you. You know?
Yeah, they definitely put a lot of love into the controls to make sure that everyone had a good experience. So one thing we haven't touched on too is the Abyss, which
Hmm.
is a neat little feature. So obviously we have our quests and we have our jobs, and there's also challenges you can do, but there is the Abyss that you can also participate in, which is like just an endless dungeon, and you go as far as you possibly can, and then once you die, you can leave and take your spoils with you.
Yeah,
And I
and
thought that was cool.
it's all random too, isn't it? So
Hmm.
it's you seem to get some pretty decent rewards from it. I think it'll get more use out of me once I finish up the main quest line and stuff. And I think that'll be like a good thing to kill time and continually upgrade your character after you actually beat the full quest line. You know?
Yep, yep. It's a good way to get extra resources and a little bit of experience. And then I figured out a lot more about like tempering and stuff like that. The tempering is pretty neat. The fact that you can take any type of weapon and basically you upgrade it by a tier, essentially. So
Mhm.
you'll go to temper a weapon, and if it's currently just a standard blade, you go up to rare or whatever. But as you go up, you can go magnificent, flawless, exemplary, sublime, and sublime's the top tier
Yeah.
legendary. And the requirements to upgrade that are higher and higher each time. So there's that deeper level of smithing.
And it does take some like real life time to do, but it doesn't seem totally long or anything like that.
I think it's just a couple hours for most things. I don't think they have any that are just like stupidly long. At
Yeah.
least not that I've noticed. Um,
Like for me, I can just wait on that. I'm not super impatient about this game.
yeah, I have Apex to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I really like that aspect, and then the enchanting, being able to make your own enchantments and um,
Hmm.
potions and everything. There's just so much to the game. It's not just a hack and slash dungeon crawler, um, and I think that's why I enjoy it so much. Is there is so much that you can do.
And there seems to be more on the way,
Yep.
like multiplayer, I guess, in the arena.
Yeah, that I'm very interested for that, because you're gonna see people that probably have the combo system down, just decimating.
Yeah, I'd like to see like I don't know how much I'm gonna play it because I'm probably gonna get my ass kicked, but like I want to see the rewards, and it would just be cool to see other players' builds and stuff.
I'm very interested to see what the arena comprises of. I'm also interested to see the monetization going forward. So I like that it has the standard, mobile monetization of, here's your free thing for every day so that you check the store. And then they have the just your standard, here's some cosmetic stuff and chests and gyms and all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't seem outside the norm. I think some people will probably see the chests and cosmetics that help you increase your town's level as a pay to win scheme, which I mean makes sense. If you're buying a legendary chest, you've got a higher chance of getting higher tier gear that's going to help you level faster. But at the same time, I mean, they've got to make some money, and it's not the biggest deal in the world unless it starts affecting PvP.
Yeah, I would be interested to see what happens with PvP going forward, because as you said, you could buy some pretty good stuff as far as I can tell from the shop. I don't plan on spending money on it, so but I mean, you could buy a legendary chest, for example, which is about $20. Yeah, that's just not worth it.
No, I don't think most players will buy, but I think you'll have those diehards that, like in most games, that'll buy, and then you'll have the people that kind of buy maybe like a $2 pouch of gems just to support the dev, and stuff like that. So, I think that I thought I saw a number the other day of how much they've made, because they've had 1 million people in early access, and I think I saw that they've made like $500,000 or something.
Wow,
So,
hasn't been too long either.
No. So I'll be curious to see how monetization changes, especially knowing that they also are not a big fan of how the silver chests work right now.
Which is something that a lot of developers I don't think they would do, because that's what makes them money, And they're like, hey, seems like this isn't consumer friendly, so we're going to change this up a bit. But time will tell, really.
Yeah, I think time will definitely tell how invested Bethesda is in making sure that Blades is very friendly to their players rather than a moneymaker.
Mm-hmm.
So we shall see. But overall, I mean, I'm having a great time with Blades. I love jumping in every once in a while and going through a couple dungeons, grabbing some chests, and then, setting one to open while I go off and do whatever I've got to do. It, to me, is Elder Scrolls perfectly distilled.
Yeah, it's what I'm looking for in a Elder Scrolls mobile game. Like, I don't expect him to recreate Skyrim on mobile, although I don't doubt that someday they will.
Yeah,
but
on every other platform.
Exactly. I think so far this is what I've been looking for. Like, my expectations were met.
Yeah, I didn't set mine too high because I know how mobile is, but I definitely had my expectations exceeded. And I'm excited to see where this goes and keep playing through, especially with launch coming in the near future with more quest line stuff and probably more quality of life updates.
Yep, I agree.
Thanks for listening to our mostly quick thoughts about Elder Scrolls Blades. Please, if you can, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are working on doing much more quick thoughts videos in the near future, so stay tuned.